Good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Top 3 at 5. And I am Hebron Ben Bilal of the Remnant of the House of Israel. I am the elder teacher. And as always, if you like this content, please join us over on the YouTube page. Hit the bell for notifications. Subscribe first, of course. Hit the bell for notifications because every Wednesday and Saturday or the Shabbat, we come out with this top 3 at 5. And what the top 3 at 5 is going to be a weekly rundown of 3 commandments out of the 613 laws of Yahweh, or what they call the 613 laws of Moses. And why we do this is just to educate individuals who do not know, first of all, where to find the commandments. Secondly, don't even have a clue in regard to what the commandments are outside of the sacrificial system. It's important to know, especially if you are one who desires to follow the laws of Yah, exactly what those 613 are, what it is that you are supposed to do, and how to make them applicable to today's time. So that's what we do here. Also, we give those who are just wanting something to listen to early in the morning as they go about their day, preparing for their day, and want to put something on their heads or put something on their mind or on their hearts to get focused and prepare for your day. This is that place where you can come to and just hear the word of Yah, something simple and basic, not controversial, mired in a whole bunch of other stuff. So without further ado, let's get into this. Now, last week, the last edition, our first top 3 were do not add and subtract, or do not add to Torah, do not subtract from Torah, and always obey the chosen or anointed prophet of Yah. Now, once again, as I told you last week, those were found in the new, and these we will go to these top 3 this week in our top 3 on this beautiful Wednesday morning. The first one that we will deal with is love your neighbor as you love yourself. Now, remember, I told you these come in no order. I'm not going from Genesis, to Deuteronomy. I'm just the way that I categorize them in my studies of the 613 and how I put them all in order of how the relevance to me. Verse 55 being relevant because I was studying the laws of Moses that were in the New Testament. So this is why this particular order is being used. So it's just, if someone is looking and saying, well, why did he start here? Or why did he start there? And this is the reason that I just kind of bounce around. So love your neighbor as you love yourself. This will come out of Leviticus 19 and 18. Leviticus 19 and 18. Let's start there for our morning read, shall we? Leviticus 19 and 18. You shall not avenge nor bear grudge against the children of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as you love yourself. I am the Lord, or I am Yahweh. And always remember, I'm coming out of the King James Version, so that you're not looking and saying, well, he's coming out of a different version. The commandment should be this or the commandment should be that. I'm coming out of the King James Version. And the commandment we're doing is love your neighbor as you love yourself. This is an important commandment because of the fact that, number one, you can find it in the New Testament, but also we have an opinion, or we have an ideal in our head of how love is. Each individual, because love is a subjective emotion to us as individuals on this plane of existence. Love is a subjective thing. I like to be loved a certain way. My wife likes to be loved a certain way. My neighbors love to be loved a certain way, etc., etc. People want to be treated in accordance to how they feel that is necessary. With love, it's an emotion, but it can be displayed equally across the board. Of course, dealing with your household, loving your wife, loving your children, That's an emotional type of love. You will go above and beyond. You will do extra things for them that you wouldn't do for others outside of your home. Now, when dealing with this particular commandment, you have to understand loving someone else as you love yourself. For instance, let's just say, for instance, like this is a good example. You see somebody broke down on the side of the road. You understand not to just drive past that individual. The men, for instance, it's raining. You have the option of stopping or going. You see this woman clearly broke down on the side of the road. What do? Well, reverse the roles, and I always do that. I always put myself in that position, and I always ask myself, if I was broke down on the side of the road and I seen people just still going by, the first thing I would say to myself was, "Dag, man, ain't nobody has enough common courtesy to stop and make sure I'm all right, check on me, hey man, you need a ride to the gas, whatever." And I know these are dangerous times, but at the same time, we have to understand we are obligated from Torah to love others as we would love ourselves. And this is a universal thing. It just doesn't stop. We look at the Good Samaritan. It's a prime example of this, a love that was exhibited. Everybody else walked past him, but the Samaritan stopped and helped the injured person on the side of the road. And this is a prime example. He didn't stop and say, "Is it a Samaritan or is it?" That wasn't the lesson that you should have gleaned from that particular instance. He stopped, and just in this particular instance is the same thing. To show that love, you just don't leave people stranded on the side of the road. To show that love, you help elderly people with their bags, to help them load their car. This is the way that you exhibit love. And I know, once again, everybody has this ideal way of how they exhibit love to others, but that's not how it works. It's displayed across the board, and Yahweh himself, as we continue on with the commandments, will show you how you are to exhibit love to your fellow man. And that's what's important, because he lays it out. He demonstrates it for you. And that's primarily where I got the example of not leaving a person on the side of the road. And we will hear that later on in some commandments going forward. But this, of course, I told you will always be able to find where this is in the New Testament. So you go to Romans chapter 13, you will find this, 13 and 9, Galatians 5 and 14, and James 2 and 8. So once again, this is another commandment out of the Torah that you will find in the Old Testament. So this is a law of Moses that you would also see that's being commanded to be kept by the Gentile converts who were just coming into the knowledge of the Israelite culture, that they weren't exempt from these things, that they actually had to keep them. So let's move to our next commandment, which would be the fifth commandment. In our readings, you shall love Yahweh with all your heart, soul, and might. You shall love Yahweh with all of your heart, soul, and might. Now remember, I'm just going to give you the places where you can find these commandments in the new text. Now, sometimes I will go back and show them to you so I can elaborate and kind of break it down for you. But at the same time, understanding that most times, like in this particular instance, it's just really just showing you where it's at, and you can go read it for yourself. But this particular one you will find in Deuteronomy 6 and 5. Deuteronomy 6 and 5. And you shall love Yahweh, your creator, with all of your heart, and with all of your soul, and with all of your might. This is an important commandment because this one falls right under Yahweh expressing. The reason I put it in this order is because this is Yahweh's way of saying, first thing you need to do is learn how to love your fellow man. Because we clearly understand what was said in the new text, and I'll let you all find it. And that's one of the things that you'll find that I do. Sometimes I'll allow you the opportunity to go and search it out. That's a good practice. I'll state or say the particular scripture, and I'll let you go seek it out for yourself. That's a good practice because it helps you to find other things. You'll stumble across other things. You'll fall down rabbit holes, and you'll learn more than just that one thing that I pointed out to you. So in this particular instance, when you see this, you also understand that there's a scripture in the New where it talks about if you can't love your fellow man that's right in front of you, the person that is right in front of you. If you can't love your brother, there's no way that you can love Yah. And I'm paraphrasing here. There's no way that you can love Yah. And this is why I put them in that particular order. That love your neighbor first, and then love Yah with all your heart, soul, mind, and your heart, soul, and mind. You will also find this in Matthew chapter 2 and 30. Matthew chapter 22 and 37. Yeshua said unto him, "You shall love Yahweh your deity with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind." You see that this commandment is also being told or spoken to or kept or emphasized in the new text. And this is right out of the mouth of Yeshua. So once again, this commandment, you shall love Yahweh with all your heart, soul, and might, is Deuteronomy 6 and 5. Now, some of them are just completely and totally, you don't even need an explanation. You don't need for me to sit and explain to you about loving Yah with all your heart, soul, and might. If I do, you're probably, in the wrong place. You might want to start from ground zero. Now, this does explain to you. It's going to give you a breakdown in regard to how you do that. You can't just go and pick and choose the things that you. I'm just going to give you an example. Yah is telling you here to love Him with all your heart, soul, and might. Okay. He goes forward to explain to you what is pleasing in His sight, in His 613, what he wants you to do to exhibit this love to Him. So I guess I am breaking it down to you. So He's telling you with this 613, this is what I want you to do to show that love that you have for me. Not make up stuff, Christmas, Easter, and not just bashing them, but don't do these particular things and say it's for me. I'm showing you how you exhibit love towards me, how you reverence me. I'm showing you these things. But you decide you want to, well, no, I ain't going to do that. I'm going to show Him I love Him by doing this. See, I love God because I'm doing this. No, He shows you. He exhibits to you. He shows you, clearly spells it out to you. Okay, look, love me with all your heart, mind, and soul, soul and might. But this is how you do this. You don't pick and choose. You don't pick and choose how to exhibit love for your fellow man. I will teach you how to do that. And in these 613, this is what you will learn. So once again, that's Deuteronomy 6 and 5, and you will also find this commandment in Matthew 22 and 37. So let's go on to our last installment for the day. You should not hold a grudge against your brother. And this is a very important one. This is very, very important. You shall not hold a grudge against your brother. You're going to find that in Leviticus 19 and 18. You shall not avenge. We just read that. You shall not avenge nor bear a grudge against the children of your people. Now, this is very important because there's a place in Torah where Yahweh tells Israel, He tells Moses, to tell Joshua, to always remember Amalek, to always remember what Amalek did. That's holding a grudge. Always remember, never forget it, because eventually I'm going to destroy them from underneath the head. This was a promise He gave to Joshua. I am going to destroy Amalek from underneath the heavens and earth. Now, this is a promise. This is a promise that He made. So once again, going back to this doctrine of the old is done away with, Jesus fulfilled all of that. No, that was a promise that was made to man, to His very own people, that I'm going to destroy Amalek. And Amalek is still around. It's still prevalent today. And it's funny, I heard a story about Amalek. It's a little side note, but it was a man that was talking on radio, and he said he was over there in the Middle of the East, in the Middle East, and he had come across a lady he was having a conversation with, and he asked her, where she was from, and she said that she was part of Amalek. She derived from, this is where she was a part of. She was a part of their heritage and culture. And he was surprised because he thought in his journeys that they had been obliterated. But he said he clearly knew, seeing that this woman was proclaiming to be a part of this particular culture and nation of people that are still prevalent to today. So once again, going back to my point is that you have these people talking about that Jesus fulfilled this thing. No, because Amalek still is prevalent, and this is something that he said they would do. But I digress because I'm getting off the point. Once again, the holding of a grudge, where he said, you shall not do it against your brother. But he never said anything about holding a grudge against other nations. Now, this is important because, once again, you look at the example of Amalek. So either he was contradicting himself here, or he was clearly telling you, don't do this amongst your people. But you can still bear ought or hold a grudge against others. Not against your brothers, not against brother Israel, the people of your own heritage, of your own culture, of your own nation. Don't do that. But outside of that, people who are not of you, that don't worship me, don't acknowledge me, you can hold grudges against them. You and as petty as it might sound, you can get back at them. Don't do it here, but you can do it out there. Once again, you shall not hold a grudge against your brother. Now, this is something else that's exemplified in the New Testament. And some of these commandments, and I'm going to be honest, some of these commandments are going to be kind of hard for you to swallow. I promise you, they're going to kind of be hard for you to swallow. Because when I started first learning them, I was like, man, because we're conditioned socially to see things a certain way because this society brings you up a certain way. Now, each section of this society, whatever, nationality you grow up around, you're indoctrinated differently with different moral codes, ethics, the way you see life. But as being a black man, being reared up around other blacks, we were taught and programmed things to see things in a different way, a different fashion. We're very forgiving, and that was something that was, I guess, really rubbed and massaged and amplified by other cultures. And, we were continuously bombarded with these messages to forgive, forgive, forgive. Always be forgiving, always forgive, always forgive. Where clearly Yah doesn't always forgive and forget. Some people go beyond that line of returning. Amalek being one. He said that I'm going to get them. You know what I'm saying? He makes other statements of that kind. And once again, it's kind of hard to process some of these because you've been reared up a certain way to see things and to process things a certain way. So when you're hearing these, it kind of it's tough because it goes against your programming, that cognitive dissonance. It goes against that. And you see it and you say, man, that's kind of tough. Like I say, learning these, that's how it was for me. And this is one of those ones where, you're hearing it and you're saying, so I can't hold a grudge against a brother, but I can hold grudges against other people. Clearly spelling it out for you. Don't hold it against your brothers. Now let's go to the New Testament. In James chapter 5, and this is very important. James chapter 5, this same principle is being taught. Grudge not against one another. Don't hold grudges against one another. Brethren, lest you be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the door. Grudge not against one another. Don't hold grudges against one another. Individuals who are in this thing, because this is James. He's not talking to the entire world. He's talking to people who are directly connected to this movement, to the culture. These converts who are coming in, he's explaining to them, look, this is one of the rules, and you can be condemned for this. You can, violating these particular things can send you to hell. So he said you can be condemned for this thing. Holding grudges against one another, you can't do it. That's a bad thing. So James reinforces this in the New Testament, 5 and 9. Once again, finding a new Mosaic law in the New Testament. Who would have thunk it? But anyway, I digress. And these are the top 3 this morning. But really, I want to really lay emphasis on these 3. Because number 1, Yah is going to show you how you love your neighbor as you love yourself. He goes through and he gives you very clear examples of how you do that. When we move forward, you will see that and how to make them applicable for today. The number two, or the second one, was loving Him with all your heart, soul, and might. And it's important because, once again, He goes into explaining to you with the 613 how you do that. How are your works pleasing to Him? How do you exhibit that love to Him that you say that you have for Him? How do you do it? You don't do it outside of anything else. You have to look at that standard that He erected and say, this is what you do. These works are pleasing in my sight. You can't make up stuff and say, well, He likes this stuff over here. That's not how it works. If you move into my house and I have rules and I say, you want to stay in my house, you want to stay a part of my house, you want to continue to live in my house, these are the rules and guidelines in which you don't create other rules over here once you move in and say, well, now I think that Hebron would like this better, so we're going to do things this way. That'll get you put out quick. I don't play that. You move into my space, I explain to you what the rules are, you abide by those rules, you're welcome to stay as long as you choose. But when you decide, I don't want to do that, I'm going to make up my own rules. So once again, He explains to you as He goes along, as these commandments go along, what is pleasing in His sight. And the third one, regarding the grudge, I know it's hard to comprehend that, oh, well, we're supposed to forgive everybody. No, you're not. You're supposed to forgive those who are a part of the culture, those who are adhering to the culture. Those are the individuals you're supposed to forgive. Yeshua points that out to you. If a brother is in error, this is what you do. And we'll get to that commandment as well. So understand, these commandments are only kept in regard to those people around you who are keeping the same type of culture, who have the same mindset. Because you can't go outside of here and then put someone under the confines of your rules and regulations and then judge them accordingly. They never heard them. They don't even understand what the hell you talking about. You know what I'm saying? And most of the stuff I'm going to be reading to you and giving to you is going to seem strange and foreign. So do understand. As we go along, you're going to hear some that are tough to digest and comprehend, but we'll continue to break them down so you can see how they're applicable to today. So once again, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. As many of you have seen, you've received notifications in regard to the changing of the Facebook page. We're doing that, and as well as we will be changing the name of the Backyard Chronicles to Boomer Logic. So look forward to that here soon. We will be uploading more videos to that page as well. Like and subscribe to both of them. Subscribe and hit bells and notifications for both of them. This is today's installment of the top 3 of 5. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Love you all, and I will see you on the next edition.